What's up, YouTube? So, I have another video that I was recommended that incited a lot of emotion and a little anger in me. I started watching the video, and as a creator, I pay attention to a lot of the ways people decide to make their videos, and you know, I guess the message that they want to get across and that kind of stuff. Like, so like the intro and the start of a video is like very important, and I think I think it's fine, but it made me a little upset. Speaking of, it has to do with the FGC. You see the Fall Classic 2K16 Mortal Kombat XL tournament. All right, so this is a guy, Mick Chillin. He has 490 subscribers, not too far behind me. And I'm going to give it a like anyway, because I said before that when I like react to people's videos and watch their stuff, I'm going to subscribe to them, because as someone who is also trying to follow the YouTube, thing, we're all trying to get to 1,000. That's our goal. Anybody under 1,000 is trying to get to 1,000. Anyway, confessions from a failed pro gamer. I already watched half of this video, about up to 3 minutes and something, 3 minutes and 11 seconds, I think. And I decided I was like gonna go back because I want to talk about this video, because I mean, I would assume that I'm in the same position, or was in the same position as he was, but I look at things very differently than he does about the FGC and trying to become a pro gamer, which is not something that I was necessarily aiming for. I definitely wanted to get better at fighting games. I definitely wanted to do something, make a splash in the FGC, but I never really did that either. So technically, I would fit his description of a failed pro gamer. But I don't feel that way. I don't feel like the time I spent in the FGC, or the time that I spent playing fighting games and going to events and all that stuff was a waste, even though I never, won anything, or I won one local. Like, I won one local before, but it's so much more than just winning, right? It's so much more than just winning. You gotta want it really bad in order to achieve something like that. But like where you're winning everything and you're really good, and you gotta really want it. And there are people out there that are gonna want it more than you, and some of these people out here, they need it. So they're gonna fight hard, right? So let's just get into his video without any further ado, and we'll talk about some of the things that he says.
Chillin's kind of underrated. He's a pretty good marksman.
And a very, very strong finish by Ninja Killer with that outtake Johnny.
So he's playing against Ninja Killer here, and I would assume that he's like pretty upset that, like, because this is his video that he's editing of himself on stream. So him zooming in on this and seeing his face, I assume that he like, in his mind, he was thinking like, fuck, man, I just can't do it. I can't do this, man. These people are just too good. I'm not good enough. It's not even that, you know what? It's probably not even that he thinks that these people are too good. It's just that he thinks that he's not good enough, which I can relate there, right? So that's him zooming in on his face and seeing the kind of like somber look on his face, where it's just like, like frustration, right?
For 6 years,
the soft music, right, and everything.
I traveled around the country chasing a dream. I played video games all my life and liked them so much I wanted to make a career out of them. All it took was watching a Halo 3 top 10 plays on ESPN, and I was sold.
And that's fine.
Become so good that I travel to compete in tournaments and make money. But the grind to be the
that's also fine. But I think the ordering of the words that he used here, maybe he didn't mean it this way, but the order of the words is, I wanted to become so good that I'd travel and beat everybody, pretty much, right? Like, But in order to get that good, you have to travel and take the L's for a long time, and you have to really want it, and you have to understand that you're going to lose, and you're going to take a lot of L's, you're going to take a lot of losses, and you just have to keep going. If at some point you feel like, okay, you know, maybe this isn't for me, go ahead, bow out, right? You can bow out with grace. But for the most part, if you're looking to be the best and you didn't make it as soon as you would hoped, as soon as you would have hoped, then chances are your I guess your priorities for doing it and the things you're doing in this journey are not like correct, right? So like if you're looking to gain the result and you're like, I need to get this within this amount of time, or screw it, right? The amount of time that some of these people have spent playing these fighting games is basically their entire lives. Some of them entire lives of some of the people that are in the FGC now. Been doing it since before they were born. They understand playing footsies, neutral, all this kind of stuff, right? And for him to have gotten to the point where he could win most of his locals, or, you know, like stuff like that, and get into the money of like maybe a major and do well, is like you're there. You just need to keep pushing. Now, if you have to start doing something else and you want to still continue to do this and try to work on it, do that. But like, I feel like the journey is what is great about the FGC, and what's great about like doing stuff like this is it's not necessarily trying to start out in the beginning and then going, I want to win a major, which you could definitely start out that way. But like for me, it was like, oh, I want to do this because it looks fun. Like it looks fun. It looks like something I would enjoy doing. It'd be something that I'd be able to, you know, practice for, go to events and stuff like that. And I went to my first event by myself. I didn't go to events with I didn't have any friends that went to any fighting game events with me, except for one time where my friend Chris went to the very first tournament that I ever went to. I'm pretty sure he went to Charity Fights, which was the very first free tournament that I ever entered, and it was huge, and there was like really good players there. And it was at 40th Street Arcade in Philly. That was the first time I've ever been to a fighting game event, and it was free to enter everything, and it was like at the beginning of Ultimate Marvel 3. That was the first time, and I was like, I want to, you know, I want to do this. I want to play these. I want to play fighting games, and I want to enter tournaments. That's what I want to do. So that's what I started doing, and then I met friends in the FGC, and I started a friendship, and I am still friends with these people today. But that'll come up later in this video, because he says something about that, and I'm just like, that is a you thing, bro. Like that is not an everyone thing. But let's continue.
The best is ruthless and unforgiving, and the pursuit of going pro left me with a lot to be desired. This is confessions from a failed pro game.
And in this moment right here, right? So I don't know what happened I don't know what this match was between him and Ninja Killer, right? But Ninja Killer, you know, he gave him a fist bump. Ninja Killer at this point is already, you know, sponsored. He's doing his thing, but Ninja Killer was godlike online, right? And then he burst out. He was a breakout player, and he's sponsored, and he's doing it. He's doing what this guy wants to do, right? So I feel like if he were to be asking people like that he's losing to, now everybody doesn't take losses that well, but if I'm taking losses against somebody who I know that is much better than me, especially in tournament, then it might be like, dang, man, like what could I have done there, right? If I really, really wanted to know, like what could I have done there? And I'm not going to say that I would ask everybody, and I don't, but like I think from maturing like in the FGC and like after a certain point, I was just like, dog, I don't get mad about as many different things as I used to before. Still get frustrated playing online and, have, like my fits where I'm just like, oh, man, fuck this character, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, but for the most part, I don't blame my losses on other people. I'm usually blaming my losses on me and trying to figure out, what it is, why. So, like, I'm saying all this to say, just to give you an idea of where my head is at from listening to him talk about being a failed pro gamer, because there's a lot that you gain from being and going and traveling to all these places to enter these tournaments and meeting all these people that is not a failure. It's like, I feel like you're tunnel visioned on pro gamer, and you can't see all of the benefits that you might have gotten from doing what you're aiming to, trying to do what you're aiming to do, and all the things that it brought with it.
Gamer.
You going to take the
2014
L's.
to 2019, I competed in Injustice Gods Among Us, Mortal Kombat X, Injustice 2, and Mortal Kombat 11. By day, I was working a regular 9 to 5, but by night, I spent my time staring at a screen for 8 hours, studying frame data and learning combos. After high school, I had friends go on to study law, medicine, serve in the military, and then there was me, studying how to beat superheroes and demigods.
Okay, let's address this part. So he sees he's not achieving what he wants to achieve in the FGC and making a career out of playing video games because he's just not there yet. His journey hasn't reached that point yet where he's doing what he wants to do in video games and playing fighting games to earn money and earn a living, right? But he sees his friends doing all the normal jobs that are bringing them lots of money and in wealth and all that kind of stuff. But is that the stuff that you want to do? Or is that just the safe way to go, right? Like, it's the safe way to go, fine. If that's what you want to do that. But you kind of got to do what you want to do in life. Sometimes you'll get sidetracked by something else, but that something else may help you move forward in what you want to actually do. And this has happened to me because for 2 years, like even before this year, I wasn't working. For 2 years before this year, I wasn't working. So all of 2023 and all of 2022, I was not working. I was working on doing Twitch. I mean, I guess you can include Twitch, YouTube, and like TikTok stuff. So that's what I was working on for the most part. And I feel like I succeeded in one of my goals in like gaining a lot of like followers and gaining a lot of like viewership compared to what I'm usually doing, where I don't usually have anybody like watching my streams. I don't have anybody that tunes into my streams like when I go live. To having 8,000 plus followers on TikTok, which is not a lot for some people, but it's a lot for me because I never thought I would even hit 1,000 to be able to go live on TikTok, right? So I succeeded there to 1,000. I succeeded in far surpassing 1,000 to 8,000 followers, which also helped bring people to my stream, which I had people watching my stream. I had constantly people had watching my stream on TikTok, and like, and so I succeeded to a point, right? Then everything started to slow down more, and then we came into me doing YouTube more than anything else. And now I live in Washington now. I moved away from Philly because my wife has a job in Washington, and we moved out here. So new opportunities, right? And now I'm working again full time. And and I don't necessarily hate it. But since I'm working in the morning, I've had a like discipline build in me because I didn't want to stop doing YouTube, and I don't want to stop streaming because I'm working full time, and I also don't want to burn myself out. But since I get off at 5 o'clock, I come home, I usually like rest a little bit, then I'll stream for a couple of hours, and then I'll just post something up on YouTube. I don't edit a whole lot of stuff. Like, this is most likely not going to be edited because that takes time. And while, you know, some stuff is edited, there's an audience for everyone. You can succeed doing what you want to do. You just have to keep moving forward and trying to figure out how to adjust and pivot to do different things. So this like sad confessions video is just like, come on, man. Don't let this be the thing that like stops you from continuing to do what you want to do. Like, cuz clearly you're good enough. You just have to get better. And that's what fighting games are. Like, you're just constantly working at getting better. And because everybody else is getting better, people are not going to get to a point and then stop getting better, and then you can catch up to them and bypass them. Like, that's not how it works, especially if you're trying to be somebody who's a pro gamer. They have way more incentive to win than you do because you have nothing technically to lose. They want to perform because they're sponsored and all that kind of stuff, right? They want to make sure that they do good, but in most cases they're so good they don't really have to worry about that. Some of the people, but then like some of the newer people coming up, they want to make sure that they put on for their sponsor, right? So there's more incentive for them.
Even as a kid, I thought I was good at Super Smash Bros. Melee. Everyone thinks they're the best in their friend group, school, even city.
No, everyone doesn't think they're the best in their friend group. I personally did not think I was the best fighting game player in my friend group. My friend was. My friend Chris, he was the best fighting game player in our friend group. Him, maybe Troy, and like our friend Max. Between them and like Tekken and Soul Calibur, mostly like Soul Calibur for Troy and Max, and then like Chris for like, and Chris and maybe like Keith for Tekken, I'll say, because those are the people that I can remember that I really couldn't like beat in Tekken, was Chris and Keith, because Keith played Law, Chris played like Heihachi, Yoshimitsu, and I couldn't really beat him. I also lost to Chris a lot in Ultimate Marvel when I first started getting into it, because I was just learning. So to me, he was better than me, and I was like, this can't be a thing. I want to get better. So it kind of motivated me to get better at games, because I was like, I want to get better, and I want to be able to beat Chris. I want to be able to beat, anybody else that thinks that they can beat me at the game. And so that's partially what motivated me, is not being good enough at the game and wanting to get better and playing better people and entering this whole new atmosphere of the FGC, that it will just make you better, because it definitely will humble you. But like, to me, it didn't necessarily humble me, because I already knew I wasn't that damn good. It may have humbled somebody who went in and thinking that they were the best and that they would just body anybody, and they go in there and then they just get slapped, and they're just like, dog, this is not what I thought it was, right? So maybe that's the difference between me and him, is that he thought he was the best and went in there and got slapped down, and I went in there and like humbled already and was just amazed at the level of skill that people showed, and then I wanted to try to match that.
If you played video games as a kid too, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. Because nothing will humble you more than entering your first tournament and going 0-2. Not even winning a round or a game. Sometimes not even landing a hit. Or you could be like me and get flawless on stream in front of thousands of people.
But look who you were playing, bro. Look who you were playing, dude. It wasn't like you were playing some random, like, it wasn't like you were playing like some random person that no one knew. You're playing Hayate. And I know who this person is, barely. Like, but I've heard of his name and I know that he's good. So like, you must have known who this was when you played him. Maybe if this was your first major or first tournament and you didn't know and you didn't watch tournaments before, all right, fine. I'll give you that. Because I definitely, felt like I was getting trolled by this person. His name was Predator. I don't know if y'all remember Predator. He played Marvel. He played Hagar. And the first time I've ever saw Hagar do his combos where he does whiff pipe, where he does drop kick, whiff pipe, drop kick, whiff pipe, drop kick, whiff pipe, I thought he kept dropping his combo because I wasn't familiar with the combo. So I was pissed that I was losing to this guy. I was like, he just keeps dropping the combo and he just keeps getting it back. And I don't know how to, I'm mad. I'm like, I shouldn't have lost that. I could beat that guy. He's trash. Like, that's what I was thinking in my head. But like, I just wasn't familiar with the combo. So maybe you didn't know who Hayate was, but like, if you sat down next to somebody with a jersey on, you think that you know that he about something, right? So if you got flawless on stream by a dude with a jersey on, why would you feel like bad about like the dude knows what he's doing? He ain't got a jersey on for no reason. You know what I mean?
Do a lot of damage, and Ayate starting things off hot with a flawless victory round.
It took me about a year to develop the skills and fundamentals before I traveled to local events in my state and actually placed in the money. Unfortunately, that was as far as my skills took me. I've won small events, locals with
he did this for what? He said 6 years. 6 years. I've been playing fighting games in the FGC since 2010. Yeah, I think it's 2010. So I've been in the FGC and going in events and stuff for like what, 14 years now? 13 years. 13 years now. Between 12 and 13 years. I didn't like win anything, but I have friends that have. I have friends that I played against, and we have an incredible time playing games because like they might be better than me, but like I get to play people that are better than me. Not necessarily. I'm not going to sit here and say that like I play them all the time and it's so enjoyable to play George in Marvel 3 and it's so enjoyable to play Veda in Marvel 3 because I played them all my life. And in the beginning, it was going back and forth. Well, with Veda anyway, it was like kind of going back and forth or whatever. And then he just shot up. And then like now, I'm not touching him in that game. Most likely, I'm not touching him in Marvel 3. And then his younger brother got it, passed the torch. His brother is beating New York. And remember we took his younger brother to events all the time. When we were first entering stuff, and his brother didn't play. His brother would play Marvel with us, but he didn't know what he was doing. Now he's one of Philly's best players. In Ultimate Marvel 3, he be beating New York and stuff. So it's like, and he's not even looking to be a pro player. He just want to body people in video games from what I understand. Like he just want to beat people. You know what I'm saying? Like he just want to be good. I'm sure if somebody would sponsor him to play on an actual team, like what if but like Marvel 3 is not like relevant right now, so I don't think they're not really. I don't think teams would really be recruiting for Marvel 3, which sucks because if they were, I think he would probably have a sponsor.
30 people, but the majors, the tournaments with hundreds or thousands of players from all over the world.
The only one with thousands of players from all over the world would probably be EVO. If you expected to go to EVO and do well at EVO, at your first EVO, that is where partially you went wrong. Like, it's fine to be like, I got a positive mindset, but I have a realistic mindset where it's like, I'm going to try my hardest at something that I want to accomplish, but I'm real with myself where I'm like, oh, I'm not gonna say, you know what, I'm gonna go to Evo and I'm gonna body everybody at Evo. I might say that as a joke, but like I wouldn't say that and actually think I'm gonna go to Evo and just body everybody at Evo. I'm gonna go to Evo if I go to Evo, because I'm probably going to Evo this year, and try to beat as many people as I can. My goal is not to go 0-2 out of whatever I enter. That is my goal. If I go 2-2, I'm like, you know what I'm saying? And then you move on from there, and then you try to get better, and you try to do better the next time. You don't go to Evo and be like, I'm going to win Evo, and then you go 0-2, and you're like, I'm going to quit fighting games. Don't do that.
Top bonuses of tens of thousands of dollars. I never made it, and it cost me. See, back then, video games...
It cost you. It cost you. It cost you. What did it cost you? Because I guarantee that it paid you some dividends in something else, but you're just not thinking about that.
Personality. If I wasn't working, I was on the game grinding out 100+ sets trying to learn character matchups. If we couldn't talk gaming, it was going to be a short conversation.
Dude, I've thought about this before too, where there are people, right, who don't really talk about fighting games. There are people who don't know nothing about fighting games in the real world outside of the FGC, right? That don't know anything about fighting games, don't talk about fighting games, don't know the lingo, maybe have played a fighting game or two in their past, right? And yeah, if I can't talk to you, that person, about like fighting games or video games or something that I'm interested in, then yeah, the conversation is going to be pretty short, right? But that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's like, that's the stuff that you're interested in the most. That's what you like to talk about. If I was interested in music more than anything else, and somebody wanted to talk to me about video games or fighting games, and I knew nothing about them because I wanted to talk about music, but that person didn't know anything about music, then yeah, the conversation is going to be kind of short. Same thing if somebody wants to talk to you about, I don't know, like you want to talk to somebody about like stocks or something like that. Like you're a huge investor, you follow the stock market, and you want to talk to somebody, you want to talk to regular people about the stock market, right? Most people probably won't really be able to go too deep into a conversation with you about stocks in the stock market if you know a ton about the stock market. And that's something that's more valuable than knowing stuff about fighting games. So like that's not necessarily a bad thing. You're just talking to the wrong people. You're talking to the wrong people who are not interested in the things that you're talking about. And if they're trying to talk to you about whatever they like that's not necessarily important or interesting to you, then like it's going to be a short conversation.
That's one of my biggest faults when it comes to competitive gaming. My personality wasn't developing at all.
Was that fighting game's fault? Or was that your fault? Was that the FGC's fault? Or was that your fault? Because you can't really blame things like that on, I guess, the places you go or like the places you frequent or the things you like to do. Like you can't really blame it on that. That it's the decision that you made to ignore everything else and not develop your personality, I guess. Not talk to other people, not try to make friends with other people. Like I don't know. Like I'm not even talking about other people outside of the FGC. I'm talking about in the FGC and like actually form friendships with people.
Other games that I was good at interested me, like Halo and Gears of War, but I didn't have a team to compete with. And that's the beauty of fighting games. You can't get carried to a win like you can on any team-based game. There's full accountability when playing fighting games. Winning and
pick a top tier.
100% your fault. When it came to developing friendships, it was more of an automatic process. Play against the same people in local tournaments or in online sets long enough, and you establish enough familiarity to make becoming friends simple.
Isn't that how you make friends anyway? Like you like I'm not gonna go like, you know what, I'm gonna go out and make some friends tonight and just go somewhere and just start talking to people and then just like, you know what, me and you are gonna be good friends. Like, I just made some friends tonight. Like that's not how it works. At least in my experience, that's not how it works. Anytime I've made friends is because we frequent the same space, right? We frequent the same space. We're interested in the same things. And then over time, you know, you start talking to that person more often, and you start being more comfortable talking to this person more often. And eventually you become friends. That is how being friends works. Like if like when I made friends with Veda and his circle of friends, I came in I wasn't automatically just like, we're all pals now. Like that's not necessarily how it was. I was pretty quiet, I didn't really talk about, like, that's how I am. I'm like super quiet until I get warmed up to people. Until I understand how people move, and how they are and how they feel about me, or how they feel about certain things. Like I just kind of feel it out a little bit, and then like when I get comfortable, then me comes out. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so yeah, I'm Veda was like, hey, you can come over and we're gonna have this tournament or whatever. And I was like, all right, cool. I drove like 45 minutes, probably like a half an hour, 40 minutes from Southwest Philly to like North Philly somewhere. And mind you, I ended up living up there later on, not even because they were up there. I just happened to start living up there. And then we were all close by. It was a lot of like coincidence things happened. But anyway, I went up there and we played this tournament, and then like, we went to NEC, and he had me, play the team tournament with them for Marvel 3. I still didn't like talk a whole lot to them. We just entered the tournament with me, Veda, and Oscar. We just had fun. We spent the time all in the ballroom because we didn't have a room or anything like that. I lived not too far away from the venue, so I left the venue at the end of the day to go home and came back the next day. I think they stayed with somebody that they met and became friends with. And then, after that, it was like, oh, we're going to do this. We're going to play this game. And all of our time and all of our friendship was based on playing Marvel 3, right? In the beginning, it was all based on playing Marvel 3 in the FGC. But over time, and like going to events together all the time and frequenting the same things and calling each other on the phone every day after a certain period of time, we were like calling each other on the phone, me and Veda, and we would play Marvel on the phone. We would just be on the phone, yo man, clacking buttons, because I'm pretty sure Discord didn't exist back then. And PlayStation didn't have party chat. So it was just like, yo, call Veda, yo, you trying to play Marvel? Yeah, hold on, I'm about to hop on. And then we add each other, and then we playing the game, just sitting there like this, talking on the phone, right? And I'm on the house phone too. I think, was I on the house phone? I'm pretty sure I was on the house phone. And we just played every day. Every day I came home from the Art Institute. He came home from the school that he was at. I forget exactly what school he went to. It was like a not a charter school. What the fuck is it called? I forget. Like a technical school or something like that. But we both would come home from school at the end after one of us would call each other like, yo, you trying to play? Yeah, hop on, boom, boom, we playing every day for a long time. And then like we met Mook and like Oscar. I met Mook and Oscar on Twitter, which is crazy. And then we all met up at like that one tournament. It was Veda was there, Oscar was there, Mook was there. My friend came with me to that tournament, the Charity Fights tournament. Like a ton of people that I know to this day were at that tournament. I call it the DigiDestined tournament because that's how it felt. It was like all these people that I know now to this day that I would have not known if I didn't go to this tournament and decide to start playing games in the FGC, they wouldn't exist. They wouldn't exist to me because like I would have never went and tried. So like my life would be completely different, and not for like worse or who knows for better. Maybe my life would have been worse without, going into the FGC. Who knows? It changed so much. Like my life would be a completely different journey if I didn't decide to start playing fighting games. Like It's insane the amount of impact that the FGC and the people that I've met have had on my life. I would never change it.
But many of those friendships are very surface level.
No.
Not talking about anything outside of.
Don't believe this. If you watch this video, if you've watched it before, or if you're looking at this now, don't believe this about the FGC. There are definitely some like bad parts of the FGC, but there are bad parts of any community. So don't make it seem like, I don't want anybody to think that like, oh, I can't have a good time in the fighting game community because these things happened, or this guy is telling the truth of how the people you meet will only be surface level friends and you'll never talk about anything except fighting games. That's up to you and the people that you meet and the people that you decide to hang out with and like the choices you make, right? Like the people that I know now are like brothers to me. Like they're like, it feels like when I go to a fighting game tournament, I'm going to a family reunion. And then when you go to a family reunion, you don't know everybody. You're not close with everybody in your family, right? But like there are people that you do recognize and you do see when you go to the family reunions and stuff like that. And you're like, oh, hey, haven't seen you in a long time, blah, blah, blah. Oh, yeah, you know, you mingle and stuff, right? So like that's what a fighting game tournament feels like to me, is a family reunion, where I go there with the people that are closest to me, and we go there, hang out, play games, drink, do whatever, and just have fun for the entire weekend. You know, watch my friends body somebody in this game, and then playing people in these other games and stuff like that, whatever games you've been playing recently. And everybody has something in common there. So you just got to find the right people, find your right little like clique of people to hang out with that you click with, and just have a good time. That's what being an FGC is about to me, right? If you end up being good enough to become a pro gamer, it will happen. But you got to enjoy what you're doing in the process. You got to enjoy the journey first and foremost, because if you don't enjoy what you're doing, you'll never get that far.
Video games, so you're not developing a deep, long-lasting relationship. We'd become training partners, decide on a tournament we'd go to, and travel there and try to win or at least place in the top 8. Even when
like you're aiming for the wrong. I feel like your goal is fine. Like you want to place in the top 8, you want to place high, and you're working hard toward that goal. But like I feel like it kind of hurts you in the long run, because then you get out of the sense of I'm improving every time I go, and I'm learning new things every time I go, to I didn't place top 8, I failed, gotta go home. Now I'm gonna give people who are top players a pass on this, because the people who are consistently placed top 8 all the time, and then they come and they have like, I don't know, a terrible showing, and they go 0-2 out of a tournament or something, or they go 1-2 out of a tournament, then I can see them being like, God damn it, man. Or being upset about that, because they probably not learning anything new from going 1-2 out of whatever tournament that they entered. And they're used to just stomping everybody. But like today, whatever happened, they went 1-2 and they were just like, damn. You know what I'm saying? But like being somebody that is trying to rise up to that level, you shouldn't necessarily be worried about winning all the time or placing the highest that you can possibly place. No, excuse me. Let me rephrase that. Placing in top 8, because if you work on just placing the highest you can, and approaching every match one at a time, and trying to focus on what you're doing wrong, what you're doing right, and sticking to that, then you should be able to do fine. And it's rich coming from me, because like I didn't win anything, but like I feel like I've been here long enough to know what you kind of should focus on and not focus on. And I'm still learning stuff that maybe I should focus on and I shouldn't focus on. Like learning Tekken right now. Like I feel like I'm getting better at Tekken. I feel like I'm understanding what I'm missing. I feel like I'm filling in holes where they need to be, you know, filled or whatever with like my game plan and offense and defense. And I know what I need to kind of like focus on and with defense and learning matchups and stuff like that. But then there's still stuff that I don't know that I don't know. And when I get there, you know, I'll figure it out. But like aim I don't even want to aim lower, because if you're aiming too high and you're missing all the stuff that you're supposed to be hitting on the way. Maybe is that the right thing, the right way to say it? Because if you're aiming all the way up here and you're trying to you're aiming with your bow and arrow all the way up and you're like, I'm gonna hit that top 8 at the top of the mountain, but there's all this stuff in between that you need to hit, so you need to aim a little lower and try to hit something. Like, you know, do you understand what I'm trying to say here? Like,
Traveling to major cities like Chicago and Atlanta, I did no sightseeing, no exploring, no nothing. I either stayed in a convention center or a hotel.
That's also fine. Everybody don't got time to go sightsee all the time. Like, you came to the place to experience the event that you came to. You paid for this event. You paid for a room. And you came to play people who are more experienced than you. You came to play people, meet other people, network, and do all this other kind of stuff. There's so much stuff to do at the event. And it's like, sometimes you might leave the event, go get food or whatever, right? Like, you may not explore. I'm not trying to explore all the other places around here unless I was in unless I go to Evo for like a couple of days beforehand. Like, and I'm not there, you know, only on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and then leave Monday morning, like normal, like majors and stuff like that. Like, if I go to Evo, it will probably be for a couple of days. So I got to see when the people, because I'm supposed to be going, and I'm supposed to be like meeting some of my friends from the East Coast there now. And if we go on Wednesday or something like that and come back on like Monday or Tuesday or something like that, right? Maybe come back on Monday. I don't know. Leave on Wednesday or leave on Tuesday or something. I don't know. Like, we spend a nice chunk of days there, then we have time to go do other stuff and go find nice places to eat, or, you know, see the sights or whatever, walk around, take pictures and shit like that. Like, sure. But if you're there for Friday evening, like you get there Friday evening because you got off work, you're meeting your friends there, and then you guys stay on the weekend, and then you leave Monday morning, or your friends leave Sunday night because they got to go to work Monday morning. Don't nobody got time to be going around looking at stuff. You got to be there for your pools. You got to play your matches. And then you're like, oh, you want to get some sets in with some people that you don't really get to see that often. Like, that's what you're doing at an event. That's why you don't go nowhere.
Playing video games with hundreds of sweaty, non-deodorant wearing gamers. And there's a huge social aspect of traveling to events. Facing someone in a match was usually the start of my social interaction whenever I was meeting someone outside of my gaming circle. Tournaments provide the perfect environment to work on your social skills, since everyone there has a common interest. General socializing, making friends, even finding a romantic partner are all possible and could even be looked at as a silver lining if you're a
romantic partner probably should be left out of the equation. If it happens, it happens, but don't go to an event looking for a romantic partner. Just don't go looking. If it happens, it happens. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it's not easy. Between commentators, the stream chat, and an audience, they can all be counting you out, and they are in most cases. But there's value in still being able to play well at a high level despite the odds being stacked against you, whether you still lose or you somehow bring it back.
And there's armor. Oh my gosh, hold up though. It's not over. We've seen this before, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, hold up though. Ice up. Yep. Ooh, oh my God.
Trimmer. I played Trimmer.
Oh my God. Yo!
Let's go. Let's go, chilling.
Coming in clutch.
I think that skill is applicable into other areas of life, but not much of the other stuff that I learned really is. At this point, my fundamentals...
Of course. Fighting game stuff that you learned is not going to work anywhere else. maybe arguable if I reach hard enough, reach far enough, it can, but in most cases it doesn't, right? That's fine. Everything you learn in one place and you learn a ton of it in one place is not going to help you everywhere else.
Are so good, I can pick up nearly any fighting game and play at a decently high level. But can those same skills help me get ahead in life?
Why do they have to? Why does every single skill that you have to try to get you ahead in life? Playing Monopoly or playing checkers. You're really good at playing check. You're really good at chess. That might not get you ahead in life. Not at all. But it doesn't matter. Like, it's something that you wanted to do. It's something that you want to get better at. Do it. It doesn't have to get you ahead in life. There are plenty of other things that you can learn that will help you get ahead in life.
I can learn optimal corner combos, anti-air my opponents, and control the flow of a match, but I have to walk away from the screen at some point. So where does that get me? One can develop all those skills, but have no idea how to start.
You could offer coaching to people. Like, if you're good enough and you think you have a good understanding, because I mean, you have a good understanding of things, and you can bring people up from the absolute bottom, brand new player, to where you are, or to somewhere near where you are. You could. Is it going to be harder? Because people are most likely going to want somebody who's, you know, a player with accolades and like top player and places top 8 in all their tournaments and, you know, highly skilled and all that kind of stuff, right? Like, they're going to most likely want somebody like that. And there's a high amount of competition for coaching and stuff like that. But you could.
Business, create videos, talk to girls, or get in great shape. Those skills, the return on investment.
There are people in the FGC who are FGC, like fit FGC people who like go and hang out or do gym stuff together in the FGC. Like, you could find those people and you could hang out with them and ask them about like fit things if you wanted to do that. Like, you could find these things in the FGC. There are people, you got to remember that the people in the FGC aren't only like how you think of yourself. They aren't only FGC people. They have lives outside of the FGC too. But when you're younger, you might not have a life outside of the FGC. Like, young, I'm talking about like just coming into the FGC, where it's like, oh, you know, your part-time job, you have a part-time job, you're in school, you're just, you know, doing whatever you just like to do. You come to the FGC events, you come to the tournaments, you enter the tournaments. And that's pretty much like your thing, right? But after school and after people graduate and people go follow other things they want to follow, or they just have a lot of other skills that are not just FGC, because like, I build computers, I'm really good with like, you know, like content stuff, graphics and things like that I did for myself, and like all these other things that I've learned, that I have plenty of skills to get ahead in life. But something that I really want to do, for me, is going to trump something that like I don't want to do but have a skill for, that I could like develop that skill even more. But like, it's just what I want to do. I want to succeed in this one thing, so I will do it until I succeed at it, regardless of the other things going on in my life.
It's only worth it if you place in the money. And this was the fighting game community, so only the top 8 or even the top 3 made anything. Esports has blown up now, so there's more money and opportunity, but back then it was stressful as f***. Imagine flying to an event, paying for a hotel and your entry fee, with hundreds of other people competing. No sponsor, no pot bonus, just a couple $1,000s and some bragging rights. That was the outcome everyone was playing for back in those days. I think the worst part about it is that
because people weren't doing it for a living. They were doing it because they enjoyed doing it. They got a nice little kickback from it if they win, but like, they enjoyed doing it. Now, if they were trying to do it as a career, it'd be a little difficult to do that, especially if you're good at fighting games. Like, you're good at fighting games and you're winning constantly at fighting games, but then you see all these other like this is the part that would, like, I think that would piss people off, is that you're good at fighting games, you win all the time at fighting games in these tournaments, and you're winning money in these tournaments, and you're always in the money in the tournaments. And then you look at these other games like shooters and like League of Legends that have $1 million pop bonuses, and you're like, dog, I'm good at the wrong game. Like, I'm good at the wrong genre of games. I wish I was better at League. I wish I was good at shooters. I wish I was good at these games that actually make a lot of money, that people have $1 million contracts for, tens. You know what I'm saying? Like, that is the reason why people in the higher tier would be upset. People in the lower tier just trying to hit top 8, trying to make their name in the scene, is not doing it for a living. They're not doing it for the money. They're doing it because they enjoy it and they want to make a splash in the community. They want to make themselves known in the community. That's why they do it.
My efforts just weren't realized. When it was time to show up, the hundreds of hours put in didn't matter. Even when everything's on the line, even when one opening,
it did matter.
It can change everything.
It did matter because you put in hundreds of hours. The other person also put in hundreds of hours. The other person might have put in much more time than you have, thinking that you're thinking that your hundreds of hours were like, damn, all that time meant nothing, when the other person put in double the amount of time that you did with more focused training, right? More focused training, more time, and they beat the brakes off you. And you're like, all that time I spent training meant nothing. No, it didn't mean nothing. The other person was just better. Like, that's what it's going to be. Like, it's just what it's going to be. Sometimes the other person might not be better. Sometimes you might overestimate the person that you're playing against, and you don't do certain stuff because you respect them too much. And then they start doing whatever they want and you lose to it. Then it's your fault because you respected them too much. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to put the blame on yourself. Even if you're bad at the game, whatever, like, you got to put the blame on yourself. It's not that your training meant nothing. It's just the other person was better. Respect that the other person was better. Especially if they whooped your ass and they was hitting you with some sick-ass mixes. It's like, damn. Whew. I didn't know about that. Right? Like, maybe you got hit by some crazy shit that you didn't know, or you didn't think that this person was going to put it all on the line and do some, like, super punishable wake-up attack, but because they did it, you got hit, and now you're in a combo, and you die, and now you're eliminated from the tournament. Because they decided to make the decision. They were like, if I don't do this, I might be out of the tournament. But if I do this, I might be out of the tournament. But if I do it, there's a chance that I might stay in.
In those fleeting moments, they only care about the winner. I think the biggest detriment from this pursuit was gaining little to no life experience. So many opportunities.
Whose fault is that? Is that the FGC's fault, or is that the fighting game's fault? Is that your fault? That's something that I learned from fighting games, is that you have to blame yourself more. Like, you have to take the responsibility more than, like, put it on something else. And that's what a lot of people in the FGC don't do. And you might be one of those people that don't do that. Y'all don't take responsibility for things as much as you should. And that's why you have people here like, oh, separate modern from classic controls. I need a way to separate it. It's not fair that that people who are playing on modern controls can play against people who are classic, because modern is so broken. Oh my God, this character is so broken. They need to ban this character. If they ban this character, I win everything. You know what I'm saying? Like, It sounds dumb. So I try to not do that. Like I try to not do that. And I'm like, if a character feels really strong, the character's just strong. Like the character's strong, and maybe the character's strong, and I don't know the matchup. Like I don't even know if the character's strong or not, right? But I know to me the character's strong. The character be whooping my ass, and I don't know how to defend against it yet. But once I start to learn and I start to be able to, stop the BS that happens, even if I still lose to the character still may be strong, but I might know the matchup a little better, so it feels a little better to play against. Take responsibility more. I'm not saying never say characters are broken, because sometimes it's just fun to be like, yo, this character's busted. Just to be like, or just like talking to your friends and being funny about stuff. It's like, man, fuck that character. That character's busted. Like, you need to get this character out of the game. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we say stuff like that all the time, but some people be dead serious. Some people be dead serious. Like, yo, modern needs to be separated from classic, because it is not fair that they get to use one button supers on reaction to things that I'm doing, rather than being like, oh, they like to react with one button supers. I'm going to bait them into doing stuff that is very easy to do with one button, like one button DPs, one button supers. Like, bait them, because they're more likely to do it because they're reacting to it and they're looking for something to react to. So you bait them, you jump at them, and then they super, and then you block it and you destroy them. Same thing with DPs. It's just like baiting a regular DP, except it's more likely to come out, and it's more likely to come out if you're jumping at them. So stop jumping at them, because they're going to be able to fucking do it. Make better decisions. Sometimes when people react to certain stuff when I'm playing them in Street Fighter, I'm like, are they playing on modern? Like, I'll look at the top of the screen, because I don't be thinking about looking at the screen or what control scheme they playing until they react to something crazy. And I'm like, and it feels weird. And I look, I'm like, oh, they're on modern. And then I'm like, okay, let me adjust how I'm playing, because this person is going to have insane reactions to certain stuff. So I can't just be throwing stuff out. I have to play a certain way, because I have to make sure I give them the least amount of chances to react to something that I'm doing. Or bait them with something like jabs or whatever, bait them into doing something that they shouldn't do, because they're just rearing to do it. They're like, I'm going to react to this thing. And you can tell when somebody is waiting for something too, if you're paying enough attention. So, like, you got to put the blame more on yourself and make better decisions about what you're doing. In anything.
Opportunities for growth were missed because I was hyper-focused on trying to win, which isn't a bad thing. But in retrospect, it would have been better to make more connections, create content, and develop a skill.
I think we all knew that I don't think anyone really thought about creating content back then for FGC, because the FGC was so small that the only content that really mattered and that people were really looking for, which is the reason why I never posted any fighting game content a long time ago. Like, I did here and there, but like, I really never thought about posting any fighting game content or anything, or fighting games at all, like as seriously when I started doing YouTube, because fighting game scene is so small, or was so small, that it didn't feel like I would bring any value to anyone, because I wasn't that good. So nobody really wants to watch me play, because I'm not that good. Nobody wants to learn anything from somebody who's not that good. Nobody wants to, like, this is what I'm thinking in my head. So I'm like, I wasn't thinking about like brand new players. And then usually they're not really brand new players that are in the competitive scene. They're not brand new competitive players, right? They're here a few. Okay, I'm not saying they're not brand new, but there are very, very few brand new competitive fighting game players that go to YouTube to look up tutorials and look up how to play a character, or look up how to or look up matches of their character. There are very few of those, right? So, and those are the type of content that those type of players would mostly be looking for. They wouldn't be looking for, because I'm one of them, I wouldn't be looking for a tier list of how cool someone's clothes were, right? Like, I wouldn't be looking for that. I'm scrolling past that. How cool this character's clothes are compared to this other character's clothes. I don't care about that. I want to learn how to play this character, right? So like now that it's on a bigger scale and there's more casual players and there's more people who are in between where they're like competitive, casual, or whatever, right? Where they play hard, but they don't really go to tournaments and stuff like that. But there's room for more types of fighting game content now. So it's better now than it was back then. It was not really worth making fighting game content back then, unless it was Maximilian making like hyper edited guides about Marvel 3. You know what I mean? Like hyper edited, where he has skits and it's basically a TV show that everybody can't wait to watch the next character's entry and watch Dr. Doom and Wesker crack jokes and do stupid stuff in his apartment. You know what I mean? Like unless it was that, nobody cared. Unless it was like match videos like Yoga Flame, right? Yoga Flame and any other match video replay channels or tutorials about whatever character, right? And learn how to play the game and learn the systems, and that was the fighting game content. There was not really room for much else. And if you were doing that, then you probably weren't playing the game. You probably weren't focused on getting better and going to events and going to tournaments and going to your locals and going to sessions with your friends and playing long sets, because you can't do that if you're constantly editing videos and constantly hopping from one character to another character, trying to learn that character so you can make a video for the character. So all of the better players were the ones making the videos. And if they had somebody who was like only a person making videos about tutorials and learning the systems and learning the characters, you can learn the basics of the character from this person. And they put up all the characters, but they weren't really playing the game. They weren't going to tournaments. They weren't, you know what I'm saying? Like, you had to choose, unless you had an editor, which nobody from the fighting game community, or at least back then anyway, had no editors, so that they can just play the games and they can do all the stuff, and then editors would edit up the videos and post them. And it had that back then.
In conjunction with just pressing buttons on the controller. Just doing one of those things would have brought me a better return on investment than drowning in pools or making just enough money to cover my entry fee. Listen, I enjoyed my time trying to make it as a pro gamer, but in some ways I think the juice just wasn't worth the squeeze. Mortal Kombat 1 was...
No, is that you didn't squeeze enough juice out of the FGC. You went in and was just like, that's all you did. That's all. Where other people are out there and they're like, and they're squeezing their hardest and trying to squeeze every little drop out of the FGC. You didn't squeeze every little drop out of the FGC. You squeezed a little bit and you're like, that's enough. And there was plenty more left. There was plenty more left. You just, all right. You didn't really give it any effort. I'm not going to say you didn't give it any effort. You didn't give it as much effort as you probably should have if you wanted a certain thing, or you wanted more out. If you wanted more out of the FGC, you should have taken more out of the FGC.
Coming out and the gameplay looked promising. I had grown to dislike MK11 and was getting less interested in competing, but this game really had my attention. I thought, maybe I'll give this one more try. I played the game on day one, and I haven't touched it since. But it's not because...
That's not your fault, bro. I have MK1. A viewer bought it for me, and I played it a bunch, right? I played it a lot. I learned Liu Kang. I learned Ashara. I had a lot of fun with the game. I played some of the single player stuff. I didn't play a lot of it. I played some of it, but I wasn't really too interested in playing the single player stuff. I would have been more interested in playing single player stuff if it rewarded you with better things, cooler stuff. Maybe I might have played it more. But then I moved, and then I didn't have my computer for a month and a half. And then I came home or to the apartment that I have now, and other stuff was out. Another problem with MK1 is loading times in that game are absurd. I have a 3080. I have a Ryzen 9 3900X, a couple of generations old Ryzen, right? But it's a Ryzen 9 3900X. Like it's fine. It's a fine CPU. It works fine, right? I can play whatever I want to play. But boot up Mortal Kombat 1, and I got to do shaders. And then after I do the shaders for 10 minutes, like 10 minutes of shaders on every update, you get into the game. You want to go to practice mode real quick and try some stuff. You hit practice mode. It takes like however many minutes for the thing to come up. And even if it's only like a minute, minute and a half, 2 minutes, that's still way too long for the character select screen to show up. It like there were bugs and stuff in the game when I was playing it before. I think most of those things have been fixed. But there was a bug that I found myself the hard way, and I thought I was crazy. My assist wouldn't come out if my opponent pressed block at the same time I pressed assist. And I think it was any button, but it was because of the timing of the string with assist is where the opponent would press block. How did I know this? Because when I played offline, it never happened against the computer. When I played online, it happened all the time. Then I was like, this doesn't make any sense. This never happened. I thought maybe I was putting in the wrong input, right? I'm saying I'm taking responsibility. I'm like, this has to be my fault for this input error, right? Like, it has to be me. It can't be the game. I've never run into something like this before where, the input buffer is this bad, right? And I'm just like, it can't be. It has to be me. So I went into training mode and I set the other controller. I turned the other controller on. And I don't know what made me think about this. I was like, nah, it can't be if the other person is pressing a button in between my assist thing that my assist call doesn't come out. It can't be that, right? So I did it, and I pressed the assist and the button. I did the string or whatever. I think it was like an easy string to do. Did an easy string, and then I pressed assist at the same time I pressed block on the other controller, and the assist wouldn't come out. I did it a couple of times in a row, and I was like, what? Are you telling me that the input reader for the game that reads all the inputs for what's going on is reading all the inputs at the same time and not reading the inputs for player one and just for player one and reading the inputs for player two on player two? Is this how all input buffers or input readers work? Like, I don't know. I don't make fighting games. But what this is telling me is the game is looking at all the inputs together. And it's like, and it sees me do string into assist, and it sees a block and an assist happen at the same time, and the assist just doesn't come out. I found this out, and then they came out in the patch notes that was a problem. That was like the one time it wasn't my fault. Like, I would lose a lot of games because my assist just wouldn't come out, and I would get punished for doing the stupid string and then expecting the assist to come out, and then it doesn't. And then I had to learn. I learned to play the game without using my assist with Liu Kang. I would beat people. I was destroying people without using an assist at all because of this. I didn't want to use the assist button, so I would, like, there was some assist that I would use, like maybe like a projectile assist or something like that, like sometimes, but this allowed me to switch my assists up a lot with Liu Kang because I never used the assist in combos. I would only ever use the assist sometimes, like if I was standing back or whatever. But for the most part, I'm running people down with no assist. No safety net assist or anything like that. I'm mixing people up, going for plus moves, rushing them down, and beating their ass without no assist. Because I had to find another way to play the game because this was a problem. So yeah.
Because I didn't enjoy the game. There's so much more money and opportunity now. The players competing, especially the top ones.
And you still not gonna get none of it.
And I just don't have the capacity to play video games like a job anymore.
No, if you would have started today and done the same thing that you did from then until whenever, right? If you started now with the better opportunities in fighting games, the same thing would have happened. You would have felt the same way because you were aiming for the wrong thing first. That's what it was. You were aiming for the wrong thing first, and then it would slap you down. And that the fact that there's more opportunity now brings out more players, which means that people who used to sit back and there might just be really good, and now that we have a lot of online tournaments, because he would have been able to play in a lot of online tournaments, instead of sitting in for 8 hours overnight just practicing combos, he would be sitting there for 8 hours overnight or 8 hours a day or whatever, playing in tournaments. And while that may have been better, it was still got the same result. Like, maybe you might not have even got known, or you would have been known from playing, you know, maybe you would have got top 8s at some of them. But a lot of these tournaments be stacked because a lot of the top players are playing in all these, like, you know, high level tournaments or whatever, in like TNS and like Yipes' tournament and like some of these other tournaments that they run every week. People the top players be playing in all of these tournaments, and if they're on the same day, they still playing in all the tournaments because they playing in all the tournaments at the same time. You probably be playing one tournament at a time and trying to do your best, and you would have still felt the same way, I feel like.
What I do have the capacity for is calisthenics. There's other things too, like traveling, and of course I want to create more and better videos, but there's nothing more satisfying than learning to master my body weight and inspiring people along the way. One thing I was wondering while thinking...
So is this the same thing as, like, now you played fighting games because you would have played shooters or competitive shooters with teams, but you didn't have a team. And fighting games, you can't be carried to the end because it's 1v1 and you just got to be better than your opponent. With weight training, you don't have to compete against nobody. You can go in there and 1v1 the equipment and win every time, as long as you have proper form, I guess, right? Like, you'll 1v1 the equipment and you'll win every single time. The equipment will not defeat you because you will not set up the equipment to defeat you. You set up the equipment so that you can win every single time. And every single time you're doing weight training and you're doing what you're supposed to do with your fitness, you're winning every time, you're improving every time, right? So you have nobody to lose to. In fighting games, you can lose because the other person wants it more than you. The equipment only wants what you want.
Thinking back on my history as a player was it worth it? Would I do it all again? And that's a great question. One of my closest friends I made during my time competing has a decent social media following. We were on the same level and he still competes, but at least he has something to show for his effort.
Please name the person. Name them.
All I have are my tournament badges, beat sprites and my mains, some friends, and some memories.
Oh, no, you didn't. No, you didn't. No, you did not undervalue your friends. If they're your actual friends, I would be pissed at you. I would be pissed at you. Are you kidding me? You put your friends in the same category as your badges, your sprites, and whatever else. What did you say?
For my tournament badges, beat sprites and my mains, some friends and some memories.
Some friends and some memories is the most valuable thing you can take from your entire fighting game journey. That's the most valuable thing. I love all the memories I have with me and my friends that we of stuff that we did in the FGC and stuff that we did like after a tournament, and we hung out at Temple. We would go to Temple, stay at Temple on Friday after hours, after they closed up, and just sit there and just talk, or walk down. And when we played wall ball and almost got arrested for playing wall ball at like 12 o'clock in the morning, and who knows what could have happened to us for just throwing a tennis ball up against the wall and just playing some wall ball, not messing anything up or wrecking anything. Like, do you understand what I'm saying? Like, I would have never had those memories. I would have never had the friends that I have. I would not put my friends in, just got some Beat Sprites, some friends and some memories, you know, that have nothing to show for it. Nothing to show for it? Your friends are nothing to show for it? That's the main reason why I would never change. If I didn't make any friends in the FGC, which is maybe you didn't make any friends, maybe these people are not your actual friends. But if I didn't make any friends in the FGC at all, I just went to tournaments, didn't talk to nobody, went home, went to tournament, didn't talk to nobody, played matches, went home, and never talked to anyone ever, never tried to be cool with anybody, never talked or had conversations with people to the point where like we would go over each other's houses and we would travel to do stuff or drive to Florida together. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if I never made friends in the FGC, sure, I'd change it. I would change it. Because there's nothing else that's more valuable than the friends and the memories that you have coming from the FGC. Like, there's nothing more valuable you can take from it. Nothing. I would throw away all the badges, all the Beat Sprites, all the fighting game knowledge, all of it. I would change it and do something different if I knew that if I did something different, it would be better. But the fact that I made so many good friends, I would never change it.
Memories. But how many people can say they actually chased their dreams, even if they didn't reach them?
Everybody in the FGC, everybody that is in these fighting game communities or video game communities, anybody doing anything that they want to do is chasing their dreams. I'm here on YouTube chasing my dream of being a competent YouTuber and making some type of income off of YouTube. I'm chasing a dream. Playing fighting games, hoping to be kind of good at fighting games. Chasing a dream. Maybe I'm not chasing a dream as hard as I should be, but still chasing a dream. And I've done it for, 13 years now? 13 years. And it's still fun for me.
I don't have much to show for it, and I think it was a waste in some ways, but I think there's a power in being able to say that I at least went after what I believed at the time to be one of my wildest dreams. To make a living gaming. Even though dreams change, and my dreams now look much different, I'm still glad I can say I went for it.
Bro, you saddened me, bro. You saddened me. Like, I don't know how after 6 years, like going in, not knowing, going in thinking you were the best, and then trying to be the best. If you did it for 6 years, I feel like at some point in time, even after the first, second year, you'd be like, okay, well, I need to readjust how I think about going to these tournaments and not go, but like what am I aiming for? Let me go for a goal in the FGC that I can actually attain, and then attain that a few times, and then move my goal forward, and then try to go for that goal, right? Like, but this is looking back on it, like maybe from like my perspective. Like I didn't really have a goal in the FGC. Like when I started playing fighting games and stuff like that, I didn't have necessarily a goal. I started playing these fighting games and I just was like, I want to be better. I want to get better. I want to be able to play fighting games at a higher level, which I can say I achieved. I achieved that. I made friends. I made friends that are like brothers to me. Like, I don't like. I just feel like you were aiming for the wrong things at the wrong times. I don't really know what else to say about it, but I'm gonna give you a like and I subscribe because we were both trying to attain the YouTube 1000. We're both trying to get to where we want to get to with our YouTube career or whatever. So anybody that's usually under 1,000 that I react to their video, I'm always going to subscribe to them and like the video because I need them too. So unless it's actually a terrible video, like if it's like an actual actually garbage fire video, like where it's like, oh, this person's like racist or something, like, you know what I'm saying, then it's like, yeah, of course I'm not going to subscribe to that person or like the video, you know what I'm saying? But like, no, it's like good video for the most part. I just don't agree with a lot of the stuff that you said. That's all. All right, peace.